In this video, you will learn all the poems of Class 10. Are you ready? Let's start.
The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow, from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood, and saved some part of a day I had rued.
The poet, Robert Frost, is sitting under a hemlock tree. A hemlock tree is a poisonous tree, so it represents negativity. The crow also represents negativity in some cultures. The poet was in a bad mood. But when the crow on the tree shook, a dust of snow fell on him. This changed his mood. It saved his day, which he would have wasted otherwise. See the imagery here. Many times in our life, we are depressed, because of one reason or another. But then, something unexpected happens, that improves our mood. Similar to this small moment, that made Robert's mood better. This poem shows the importance of nature in our life.
Some say, the world will end in fire. Some say, in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire.
There are two types of people in the world. Some say that the world will end in fire. Means, the world will become hotter and hotter. But some say that it will end in ice. Means, it will get cooler and cooler. But in this poem, Robert Frost is not talking about the scientific fire or ice. He is using the words, fire and ice, as a reference. In the first stanza, he says, he is among the people who think fire will end the world. He thinks this way, because he knows the destructive power of desires. Means, he compares fire with desires. Desire, greed, lust, anger. In order to fulfill desires, we fight each other, causing the end of the world.
But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great, and would suffice.
But if it was possible that the earth could die twice, then, according to Robert Frost, ice would also be sufficient. Because he knows that hate can destroy the world. Means, ice is compared to hatred. Hatred, insensitivity, lack of love. Because of hatred, because of lack of love, we fight each other, causing the end of the world. Although ice is also sufficient to end the world, but the poet thinks that it is more likely that fire will end the world.
He stalks in his vivid stripes, a few steps of his cage, on pass of velvet quiet, in his quiet raid.
In this poem, the poet describes the situation of a tiger in the zoo. The tiger stalks, in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage. Means, the tiger walks, slowly, in his cage. With the vivid stripes. The black stripes on his body are distinctly visible. He walks on velvet pads. Means, his claws are soft, like a velvet fabric. In his quiet rage. Means, he is angry, but quiet.
He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole, where plump deer pass. He should be snarling around houses, at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village.
The tiger should be lurking, that is, hiding in the shadow of a tree, moving through the grass, near the water hole, where the plump, that is, fat deer pass. So that he would attack him. The poet is trying to convey that the tiger is not meant to be in a cage. He should be in his natural habitat. The tiger should be snarling. What does this mean? It is a sound made by tigers when they're angry. Rawr! He should be snarling around houses, on the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs and claws. Means, showing his white teeth and the nails on his feet. He should be baring his white fangs and claws, terrorizing the village.
But he's locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors.
But, instead of lurking in the jungle, or snarling around the houses, the tiger is locked in a concrete cell. His strength is behind the bars. He is helpless, despite being strong. He is stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors.
He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars.
At night, He hears the voice of patrolling cars that roam around to keep watch over the zoo. He looks at the brilliant stars with his brilliant eyes. The phrase, "stares at brilliant stars," shows his helplessness. Just like the stars, his eyes are also shining, but he is confined in the cage.
If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should you advance a large and tawny beast, if he roars at you as you're dying, you'll know it is the Asian lion.
In this stanza, the poet is given the idea to identify the Asian lion. If you see a large and tawny beast. Tawny? Tawny means of yellowish-brown color. So if you see a large and tawny beast, and if he roars so strong that you can die just by hearing his roar, be sure that it is the Asian lion.
Or if sometime when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you with black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern.
If you see an animal with black stripes on his yellow body, just wait and see if he eats you. This simple rule will help you discern the Bengal tiger. Means, this rule will help you to recognize the Bengal tiger.
If strolling forth, a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, as soon as he is leapt on you, you'll know it is the leopard. 'Twill do no good to roar with pain, he'll only leap and leap again.
If you see an animal whose hide is peppered with spots, hide, skin of animal, as soon as he has leapt on you, you will know it is a leopard. But what does leapt mean? Actually, the correct spelling is L-E-A-P-T and not L-E-P-T. And it means the leopard jumps on you. But the poet has used the wrong spelling. Even if you cry with pain, it will not stop jumping on you. It will only leap and leap again. Leap? Here also, it is the wrong spelling. The right one is L-E-A-P, leap. Why has the poet written leapt and leap, instead of leapt and leap? She has used the wrong spelling, just to make these words rhyme with peppered. Peppered has pep sound. Therefore, leapt and leap, instead of leapt and leap.
If when you're walking round your yard, you meet a creature there, who hugs you very very hard, be sure, it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess, he'll give you just one more caress.
If you meet a creature who hugs you very very hard, be sure, it is a bear. But if you're still alive, and have any doubts, he will just give you one more caress. Caress means loving touch.
Though, to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus the crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they're crocodiles.
A novice might nonplus to distinguish beasts of prey. Novice, beginner. Nonplus, be confused. Beasts of prey, animals that hunt other animals for food. Means, for distinguishing the beasts of prey, a beginner might be confused. How will you distinguish between crocodiles and hyenas? Hyenas are always smiling, and crocodiles are always weeping. That is, crying.
The true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all, and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, 'tis the chameleon you see.
Now in the last stanza, the poet helps us identify a chameleon. It is small, looks like a lizard, has no ears and no wings. And also, you know, it changes its color to the color of the surface. So, you will not be able to see it on a tree. So, if you can see nothing on a tree, chances are, there is a chameleon there.
What is the boy now, who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily over, there it is in the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls.
The little boy was playing with his ball, near the harbor. Harbor, a sheltered seaport. His ball, bouncing happily, fell into the water. Any person would say, oh, there are other balls. But the poet says, that saying is useless. Because, that ball was attached to him. He had many memories playing with it.
An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy, as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down, all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude him. A dime, another ball, is worthless.
An ultimate grief fixes the boy. What does this mean? An ultimate grief, that is, the most extreme sadness, fixes the boy. The boy is standing fixed, trembling, and looking at harbor, where his ball went. All his childhood memories came back to him. The poet says that he would not entreat him. He would not console him by offering him a new ball. He says that another ball that can be bought with a dime is worthless. Dime 10 cents.
Now, he senses first responsibility. In a world of possessions, people will take balls will be lost always. Little boy. And no one buys a ball back. Money is external.
The boy senses his first responsibility. In a world of possessions, in a world where everyone runs for materialistic things, in a world where everything is done to possess something, the boy has learned to deal with loss. Balls will be lost always. Means, the materialistic things will be lost always. But no one buys a ball back. What does this mean? You can buy the materialistic things again, but not the memories that were attached to the things. Therefore, money is external. It can't help a person to deal with loss.
He is learning, well behind his desperate eyes, the epistemology of loss, how to stand up. Knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days, how to stand up.
He is learning, behind his desperate eyes. Means, his eyes seem hopeless due to the loss, but behind the eyes, he is learning. Learning what? The epistemology of loss. Epistemology, theory of knowledge. Means, he is learning the effects of loss on him, and learning how to stand up and deal with the loss. He is knowing what everyone will know someday, how to stand up and stop grieving for the loss. Grieving, feeling intense sorrow.
Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda.
The girl is Amanda. She is being scolded by her parent. She tells Amanda to not hunch her shoulders. She tells her to stop biting nails. And to stop slouching, sitting lazy with head and shoulders hanging down. Do you think Amanda is listening to her mother? No, of course. She ignores her.
There is a languid, emerald sea, where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid, drifting blissfully.
Amanda ignores her mother. She is in her own thoughts. She is imagining herself to be a mermaid, drifting blissfully in a languid emerald sea. What does this mean? Drifting, being moved. Blissfully, happily. Languid, relaxed. Emerald, a green precious stone. Means, she is imagining herself to be a mermaid, who is being moved by the water in a sea that is green, like an emerald. Both the mermaid and the sea are languid, that is, relaxed. This stanza shows that she hates being scolded, and she loves to be in her own thoughts.
Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy up your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda.
Her mother questions her if she did her homework. She cleaned her room, and she cleaned her shoes.
I am an orphan, roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed, bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet.
Now, she imagines herself to be an orphan, roaming in the street. Why orphan? Because she thought that she would be free if she had no parents. She thinks of making patterns on the soft dust with her bare feet as she walks. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Means, she likes silence and freedom. She likes playing with the dust of the street. But, ironically, in reality, she is being told to clean her things. She thinks that her freedom is being taken away from her.
Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda?
The parent tells Amanda not to eat chocolate. She reminds her of the acne she had. Acne, a disease that results in spots on face, mainly caused by eating sweets. Means, she is warning Amanda that she could get acne again if she eats the chocolate. But Amanda is not interested in her orders, and is not looking at her. So, the mother tells her to look at her face while listening.
I am Rapunzel, I have not a care, life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I'll certainly never let down my bright hair.
Again, Amanda is in her own dreams. She imagines herself to be Rapunzel. Who is that? Rapunzel is a character in the story. She is a young woman who is kept in a tower by a witch. In the actual story, Rapunzel wanted to get out from the tower, but Amanda doesn't care. She thinks that life in a tower is tranquil and rare. Tranquil, peaceful. The story goes like this. Rapunzel has long, magical, golden hair. She hangs her hair down from the window to help her prince climb up to the tower. But because Amanda likes to be in a tower, she thinks that she will never let down her hair, means she doesn't want a prince to come and take him out.
Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You're always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda.
The mother asks her to stop sulking, feeling sad and showing the sadness in behavior. She says that Amanda is always so moody, means her mood changes very easily. Also, she says that because Amanda is always so moody, people will think that she nagged Amanda, nagging, complaining continuously. Means Amanda's mother is telling her not to show sadness. She can't even react to her mother now. Now this was the last stanza. She doesn't go into her dreams. The poem ends with her mother's scoldings. Do you know what is the poet conveying by ending the poem with her mother's dialogues? That daydreaming does not help for long, when, in reality, the freedom is taken away.
The trees inside are moving out into the forest that was empty all these days. Where no bird could sit, no insect hide. No sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning.
The trees inside are moving out into the forest. Means the decorative trees in the house are moving out. The forest, where no bird could sit, no insect hide. No sun bury its feet in shadow. Means, actually, it is not a forest. The trees are coming out to the barren land. No sun bury its feet in shadow. What does this mean? The sun rays pass through the trees and make patterns on the ground. But if there are no trees, sun can't bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these days will be full of trees by morning. Means it is night.
All night, the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. The leaves strain toward the glass. Small twigs stiff with exertion. Long cramped boughs shuffling under the roof, like newly discharged patients half-dazed, moving to the clinic doors.
All night, the roots work to separate themselves from the cracks of the veranda floor. The roots are coming out of the cracks that were made by them on the veranda floor. The leaves strain, that is, exert force towards the glass. Which glass? The window glass. The small twigs are stiff, that is, hardened, as they are trying to go out. Long cramped boughs, shuffling under the roof. Cramped, confined. Boughs, branches of tree. Means, the long branches of the tree feel confined in the small area. They are trying to escape from the roof. Like newly discharged patients, half-dazed, moving to the clinic doors.
I sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters, in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms.
The poet sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters. In the letters, she barely mentions the departure of the forest from the house. Means, in the letters, she doesn't even mention about the trees moving out. Because we often don't pay attention to the trees, to nature. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichens still reaches like a voice into the rooms. Lichens, algae that grows on trees. Means, though the poet tries to ignore the trees, the smell reaches the rooms, like voices.
My head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. Listen. The glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror, its pieces flash now, in the crown of the tallest oak.
Because of the sounds made by the trees, the poet's head is full of whispers. But tomorrow, it will be silent. Because the trees will be out. Then she tells us to listen. The glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. Finally, the glass is broken. The winds of the outside rush to meet them, as if they were waiting for the trees. The moon is broken like a mirror, its pieces flash now, in the crown of the tallest oak. What does this mean? In the previous stanza, the full moon was visible. But now, when the trees have moved outside, the moonlight is falling on the crown of the tallest oak tree. So, the moon is not fully visible, and thus, broken like a mirror. Now the important part. What do trees symbolize in this poem? Women. The women, who are confined in their homes, make efforts to go out to the forest, that is, the world. The poet ignores their movement. At last, they finally break the glass, and reach the outside world. Now you'll say, how does the tree symbolize women? There is no mention of women. But, the poet, Adrienne Rich, was a feminist. Most of her poems are on women empowerment and freedom. That's why, the central idea of this poem is, women empowerment.
The fog comes. On little cat feet. It sits, looking over harbour and city, on silent haunches, and then, moves on.
The fog comes, on little cat feet. Means, the fog comes, like a cat, slowly. The poet, Carl Sandburg, compares fog, to a cat. The fog enters calmly in the city, just like a cat, which comes unpredictable. Then, the cat sits on haunches, that is, with folded legs, looking over harbor and city. Then, it moves on. Means, the fog comes, and covers the whole city, and after a while, departs.
Belinda lived in a little white house, with a little black kitten, and a little grey mouse, and a little yellow dog, and a little red wagon, and Aurelio, Trulio, little pet dragon. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse, she called him Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward, and she called him Custard.
Belinda lived in a little white house. She had 4 pets. A black kitten, a grey mouse, a yellow dog, and a dragon. A real, true, dragon. And also, a red wagon. What is a wagon? It is a vehicle used to transport goods. Belinda had a toy wagon. Did you notice that this poem has rhyming and musical sense? Such poems are ballad. They tell a story and were traditionally accompanied with music. The kitten was black, so she called her Ink. The mouse was small, so she called him Blink. The dog was yellow, so she called him Mustard. Mustard is a yellow-colored sauce. So, the dog was named Mustard. And the dragon was named Custard. Now why was he named Custard? Probably, the poet gave this name to rhyme it with mustard. He was a coward. Means, he had no courage. That is ironic. Because, dragons are known to be courageous.
Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth, and spikes on top of him, and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose, and Relio, Trulio, daggers on his toes.
The dragon had big sharp teeth. On the top of him were spikes. Below him were scales. Spikes, pointy surfaces. Scales, protective plates. His mouth is compared to a fireplace, because dragons are known to release fire from their mouth. And the nose is compared to a chimney, because dragons release smoke from nose, just like chimneys. And his toes are compared to daggers. Dagger, a sharp knife meant for stabbing. Means, his toes were sharp, just like daggers.
Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chased lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage.
Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. The poet is making this comparison to show that Belinda was very brave. Ink and Blink chased the lions. Means, they were even braver than lions. And Mustard, the dog, was as brave as a tiger in rage. Means, he was as brave as a tiger in anger. In short, the poet is telling that Belinda, Ink, Blink, and Mustard all were very brave. But Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Means, Custard, the dragon, was a coward.
Belinda tickled him, she tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink and Mustard, they rudely called him percival. They all sat laughing, in the little red wagon, at the realio, trulio, cowardly dragon. Belinda giggled, till she shook the house, and Blink said "Week," which is giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age, when Custard cried, for a nice safe cage.
Belinda tickled him unmerciful, unmerciful, without pity. Ink, Blink and Custard rudely called him Percival, rudely, not politely. Why did they call him Percival? Who is Percival? Percival is a fictitious character in a story where he is a very brave knight. They called the dragon Percival sarcastically because he was not as brave as a dragon should be. They all sat laughing at Custard in the wagon. When Custard cried for a cage, Belinda giggled, and Blink said "Weak." That is how a mouse giggles. Ink and Blink asked his age, rudely.
Suddenly, they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. "Milk," cried Ink, and "Do," cried Belinda, for there was a pirate, climbing in the window.
Suddenly, they heard a nasty, that is, a bad sound. Mustard barked, and they all looked around to see where the sound was coming from. Ink and Belinda screamed, because there was a pirate climbing in the window. In this stanza, window is written as window. Why? To make it rhyme with Belinda.
Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good.
He had pistols in his hands, and in his teeth, a bright cutlass, sharp sword. His beard was black, and one leg was of wood. From his appearance, it was clear that the pirate meant no good.
Belinda paled, and she cried "Help! Help!" But Mustard fled, with a terrified yelp. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and little Mouse Blink strategically mouseholed.
Belinda turned pale, means she was frightened, and cried for help. But Mustard ran with a yelp, short cry. Ink, the kitten, ran in the bottom of the house, and Blink, the mouse, mouseholed. Means he ran into his mouse hole. Sorry bravery Nickel-gee.
But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine, clashed his tail, like irons in a dungeon, with a clatter and a clank, and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate, like a robin at a worm.
But Custard jumped up, making a loud sound like an engine. He moved his tail, like irons in dungeon. Means his tail made the sound of iron chains clanging together, in a dungeon, that is, a prison. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm, means, with a sound of metallic objects. He attacked the pirate, just like a robin bird attacks a worm.
The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon, and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard gobbled him, every bit.
The pirate gaped at the dragon. Gaped, stared with wonder. He gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. What does this mean? Gulped, swallowed quickly. Grog, an alcoholic drink. Pocket flagon, a container for liquids. Means, he swallowed an alcoholic drink from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets from his 2 pistols. Thankfully, they didn't hit Custard. And thus, Custard gobbled him. Every bit.
Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him, no one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and Blink, in glee did gyrate, around the dragon that ate the pirate.
After every bit of the pirate was eaten by Custard, everyone returned. Belinda hugged him, Mustard licked him. And, no one mourned for his pirate victim. Means, no one felt sad for the late pirate. Ink and Blink, in glee, did gyrate. What does this mean? Glee, happiness. Gyrate, revolve. Ink and Blink revolved around the dragon that ate the pirate.
But presently up spoke little dog Mustard. I'd have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered. And up spoke Ink, and up spoke Blink. We'd have been 3 times as brave, we think. And Custard said, I quite agree, that everybody is braver than me.
But then, they all started making excuses. They couldn't accept that they weren't brave. Mustard said that he would have been twice as brave as Custard if he had not been confused. Ink and Blink said that they'd have been 3 times as brave. Custard agreed that everyone was braver than him. even after this event. He couldn't convince himself that he was the bravest of all.
Never shall a young man, thrown into despair by those great honey-colored ramparts, at your hair, love you for yourself alone, and not your yellow hair.
In this poem, the poet, William Butler Yeats, is talking to a girl. The girl has beautiful yellow hair. They cover her ears, just as ramparts protect the fort. Ramparts are the high walls built around the fort to protect it. What is the name of the girl? You know. Anne Gregory. That's why the name of the poem, for Anne Gregory. William tells her that young men get attracted to Anne and become desperate because of her beautiful yellow hair. But he says that they should be thrown into despair due to her alone, and not her yellow hair. He wants to say that if one gets attracted towards his opposite gender, it should be because of one's inner beauty and not how one looks like.
But I can get a hair dye, and set such a color there, brown, or black, or carrot, that young men in despair may love me for myself alone, and not my yellow hair.
Anne replies that she will get her hair dyed and set a less attractive color, like black, brown, or carrot, so that young men will be attracted to her because of her alone, and not her hair.
I heard an old religious man but yesternight declare that he had found a text to prove that only God, my dear, could love you for yourself alone, and not your yellow hair.
The poet says that last night he heard an old religious man that he had found a text to prove that only God could love you because of what you are, and not what you look like. It is not possible for a human to love another human because of one's inner beauty. The poem highlights the fact that though it is wrong to judge people because of their outer appearance, it is what it is. Inner beauty has lost its value in today's world.